Welcome back, Chiefs Kingdom, and some of you freelancers that are here. We're going to go over everything you need to know for this game. As we find out the practice reports, we have the injury updates, and we're going to get into the game plan. Dan and I, glad that you made it. This is RGR Football. Welcome back. This is fun. Playoff football is finally here. I'm excited about it. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of this channel, Ryan Going Rogue. Amazing how that works. This is Dan Harms, the guy that keeps me on track so I don't kind of lose my mind. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing good. I'm getting ready to talk finally and see the Chiefs on Sunday after about a month of watching everybody else, essentially, except for the full Chiefs team. So this is going to should be a lot of fun. I think they should actually come out with a little bit more energy than we've seen over the past probably 2 months, I would think.
I hope so. Like I'm ready for it. It's been a long stretch, and this extra bye week always plays havoc a little bit. For those of you, I know it's an early live stream for us because of the timing and everything else that's going on. We wanted to make sure we got you the injury updates right away, so we're going to go into that. But if you are new to the channel and you're just finding us, make sure you hit the like and the sub and the bell notification because we'll have more for you. We'll have Danilo over the weekend. We'll have something special for you matchup-wise on Sunday morning, so don't miss us then. And then we'll do the breakdowns. We'll do the Monday Q&A and the whole 9 yards. And if you missed our film this week, we kind of split it up. Take a look at those as well. I think it'll make you feel a little bit more comfortable with what's going on. What I'm not comfortable with is the injury report. No. We found out two things that are annoying but not absurd. Willie Gay's not going to play. He's out. We knew that. Sammy Watkins is not going to play. That's a little bit more troublesome. I had hoped that he would be back and ready. He's had a bit of time off to try and recover. He is a cog that I think really changes the dimension of this offense against this particular defense. They can still do it, but he is going to be missing. That's a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, we've seen over the past 2 seasons, he's been very huge in the playoffs, posting, over 200 yards every postseason, over 300 last year almost. So he's got a lot of intermediate, even deep threat ability for this offense with tension on Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. And it's really kind of, in my opinion, it's going to make it more difficult for them to bring him back in the future because now injuries dipping into the postseason. So without him this game, you're going to look for Hardman, Pringle, and more likely Robinson, who continues to get more snaps than everybody else, to fill that void.
Yeah. Good point, Patrick. You've heard me talking already this week. We'll get to the matchups here in a little bit. It is a hamstring with Sammy for the most. Lower body, whatever we're going to call it. It's not the end of the world, but whether it's his calf, his hamstring, it kind of just moves around on him, right? And so, like Dan said, usually the point is that Sammy's going to be there in the playoffs and make big plays for you. It's not going to be this week. I think that's not optimal, but it's not the end of the world either. Yeah. The thing that I think I'm a little surprised about, given that he started the week out there, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire has not practiced since. He has not practiced today on Friday, your last walkthrough, basically, and they're leaving it questionable. I think it's a lot less likely that he plays without the practice time. I think they want to keep him fresh. And unfortunately, this is one of those things where they start to be concerned about the next game rather than the game that's in front of them. It gives you an idea about what they're thinking about the game plan, though, doesn't it?
That exactly. Both of these injuries, really, Watkins and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, even though I'm hesitant to say that I think Sammy could push through it to play in this game if it was like the AFC Championship game, for example. That leads me also to believe, like you alluded to, that they're not exactly as – what's the word I want? I don't want to say specifically like worried about the Browns, because I think that you have to show up to this game. Chris Jones said it yourself, if you get bored, you're going to get your butt handed to you. That's just kind of how it is. They can't come into this game assuming that they're going to walk all over the Browns. It's not going to happen. I don't expect that to happen. And if Clyde's ready to go and play, I think he will play a little bit on Sunday. Now, the thing is, because Andy said he was just trying to get him the most rest that he could for this week up till Sunday. And that would make me think that you're going to get some reps if he's active. Now, that I also just assume that Bell and Williams will handle the majority of the snaps, and if just get him to see how he is on the field and see how he's adjusted, and if his injury is better than it was, that's probably what they're going to end up doing if they activate him. At least that's what I would hope to see, just to see how he looks from a month removed from football.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with you there. Nate from The Athletic, he feels it's going to be a game time decision. I think it might be a little bit more than that. Like if he has any kind of twinge or anything that makes them feel like, hey, we don't want to risk him, they'll just not activate him and let him rest up. I think Bell's going to be in for the bulk of the load against this particular defense, because I think it's the experience thing that's going to pay off here, particularly against I've been talking about Ogunjobi all week. He's the matchup that I think can really destroy their zone run game. And I think that leaves it to somebody like Bell that can, nothing against Darryl, but can ad lib a little bit better. Yeah. I think that leaves it more in his court than in Darryl's.
Yeah, I think we might also get to see a little bit more Thompson in this game. I think he earned a little bit more work with with Clyde not there from his Week 17 performance. Yeah, he was the go-to guy because that's just how they managed to do the rest portion. But I think that he showed enough explosion, not only in the run game, but a bit in the pass game too, even with some drops here and there, that he should get some role, assuming that Clyde's not going to play at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can certainly see that, especially depending on the game flow, what actually happens. I think the other guy that is going to be questionable is Dion Yelder. We saw him make a couple of nice plays down the stretch here. Unfortunate, but again, not a game ender. We know there's no RSJ, so it is going to be Kaiser that's going to try to help to stay in there and block a little bit. If you feel you have to roll or that you have to chip or something to try to keep especially Garrett off the outside, then he's the guy that's going to be in that role. There's no other way around it right now.
I don't know necessarily about that. I think they would use Demarcus Robinson in that chip role because they've done that a lot where they bring him closer to the line and a reduced split. Then that's not necessarily a tight end position to have him chip, just because he's got a bit more upper body strength than a guy like Nick Kaiser does. And I think that's what we'll see a bit more of, to chip guys, a guy like Garrett in the run game, in the pass game, just to help the tackles, Fisher and Remmers, get their feet under them and allow them a little bit more time. That's what I see happening. I don't really want Kaiser involved in any type of pass blocking, regardless of what it is.
I hope you're right. I'm fearful they're just going to put Kaiser out there, and they won't let Sherm out there as much as I would like that as well.
I do that too, man. Just put him out there.
I know. I mean, you never know, but that said, I do think that they are going to have to do that some, because I expect that, unlike what we saw most of the regular season, where Garrett lined up on the right-hand side of their defense, I think he is going to play a lot of left this game. And he can play back and forth if they choose to switch him or whatever. But I think the matchup is clearly what they want to attack is Mike Remmers, not Eric Fisher.
Yeah, that's true. Especially if Fisher's fully healthy, I think he's going to be just fine. He's shown that this season he's had the best year of his career. Remmers has played probably his best tackle in a very long time that he's ever played. So if he's healthy too, I think that they'll be okay. Garrett's going to get his. I think you're going to see some of the deep shots from Mahomes and some of those deep drops still, just as part of the offense. But I still think that they're going to do what they can with the short pass game and the RPOs to try to make him guess what's happening and that try to just throw off some timing a little bit. They kind of have to, I think.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an important part. And I think the RPO in particular is going to be something that they feel they can achieve the edge, because I mean, Claiborne's fine. They could even move Richardson out there. I know they've done that out on the end at times as well. But I think the pressure is going to be, even with Sammy out, is to try to keep them in that too high. We both saw that this week. I think that's the only effective defense they can probably run. You can switch between cover 2 and cover 4, but with 2 high safeties. If they try to buckle down and get a little bit like we saw the Bucs do and go single high, they don't have the athleticism to cover particularly Hill, but not Hardman, not Kelsey, not even D-Rob in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think that they're going to have to do a lot of things that defenses this season have done with their if they're going to play deep safeties, they're going to try and take everything deep that they can away. If you see single high safety out there, that's a key for everybody. Get McCole, and Hill on the same side and attack both opposite ends of the field. They've done it multiple times, and they've sent them on each different path, one straight down the field and one across the field. That's going to be what they're going to see a lot of, I think, because they don't have the speed to keep up with either of them in those specific situations. So I would imagine if he's not playing like 20 yards off the line of scrimmage, or if they have a deep cover 3 shell, that's going to be what they're going to have to do to take away those deep shots. Otherwise, they're just going to eat them alive, just like they did with the Bucs.
Yeah, and if they choose to go cover 3, they're going to have to bail early. I mean, like, it's going to be hideous. It's going to look more like a prevent than an actual cover 3. It's going to be. I do want to answer this real quick. I want to dwell on it because it has nothing to do with this game. But why not? Mitch Schwartz will be on this roster till he chooses not to be a football player anymore. So you don't have to worry about the cut. We'll just see about how his health comes along. Yeah. Now, further, let's see. We covered all the major injuries, right? Everybody knows
so, yeah.
out. So the good thing is, and I say good with air quotes, is they have to combat this run game or running back game, both in the pass and on the ground, from Cleveland. And so whether we agree with it or not, the staff has to feel pretty good because they're going to have all 3 of their base linebackers back out there. They're going to have to be in base, I think, quite a bit to at least start the game.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's something I tweeted earlier in the week. You lose Gay for this week. Probably, I would imagine next week too. I don't know if he'll be fully back from a high ankle sprain next week, assuming they advance. But you get Neiman, you get Hitchback, who's actually really huge for stopping the run. He's been their best run-stopping linebacker this season, even with his miscues here and there. But it's one of the things that I highlighted on my video from the Browns offense. If you don't fill your gap properly, they're going to the house. Nick Chubb is way too good. And if you miss a gap fully because you don't think it's going to open up, I promise you it will open up. Their offensive line is so good at moving defensive tackles out of the way to get running lanes for Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And Chubb is literally one of the best running backs in the NFL. I know that a lot of people don't see him every week, but he is, I would say he's probably top 3 running backs in the NFL.
He's not one, he's the.
Yeah.
He's the best running back in the league.
So good. He's going to you give him a lane, he's gone. He is gone.
He'll hit you with power. He'll hit you with speed. He can do it all, literally. And then comes to everybody's favorite. I know a lot of you still want Kareem Hunt back on this roster. It's not going to happen, you guys. But they do have to be very, very aware of him in the pass game. In particular, he actually ran really well against the Steelers. Now, that's saying Steelers are not the defensive front that they've been in years past, especially here at the end of their season. But it is something to say that I think he's got the matchup. We know what a natural pass catcher Kareem Hunt is. And I think that's something that Eric Bieniemy was very respectful, very appreciative of him when in his presser this week, because I think he understands that he's got a matchup that the Browns should be looking to exploit. The question is going to be, how do the Chiefs choose to try to tackle him? And I think it has to start with a safety, because I don't think you want to even try to let the linebackers take him one-on-one, especially in man. But even in zone, he has the ability to wriggle through. I don't generally like assigning a safety specifically to a running back, but in this case, it's Jarvis and him. Everybody else I can live with making plays.
I agree with that. And I know that there's some speculation that DOD might be activated for this game. Now, that would be an interesting concept. If you are allowed, if you get him some opportunities to play and you just say, go cover the running back out of the backfield. It's all you have to do. Limit what he has to do mentally.
Mm-hmm.
That is where you're going to get the best linebacker play out of him, because that's what we saw when he played in 2018. He just has one thing he has to do, and he can actually do it very well. So I don't expect him to play, because that's not in swag realm of anything. It's just not. He's just kind of there, right? He's a special teams guy. He doesn't play. But if they want to limit some of those running back plays, because even Nick Chubb, last week had a 40-yard touchdown on a screen pass, that they're going to be able to exploit the linebackers with their running backs. That's just how it is. They're very good, and they know that they're good. So I would like to see Dorian O'Daniel in some spot go cover the running backs. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love it.
Yeah, I'm not banking on it either. The good thing is he will play special teams, so that allows you to make the activation without sacrificing some other aspect of the game. So I agree with you. That's what they should do. And he may give them the one aspect, because I do expect the screen game to be part of the game plan for the Browns again. And without Willie out there, I think he is the one guy that can get all the way to the outside screen, outside the hashes, outside the numbers, with some consistency. But that would require having him on the field a lot, and I'm not ready for that. So that said, like we're talking about the pass game here, Obviously, I think it's going to start and end with Kareem Hunt. But the other guy is Jarvis Landry, and you have to cover him. A lot of you in the chat already have said it. Yes, it's going to be Snead for all intents and purposes. You might see him and Tyron slip off a little bit because I think that they feel comfortable enough with Snead right now that they can move him around with Tyron and let Tyron do his thing. But that said, Bashad and Chavarius, those guys make some plays on the outside. Higgins in particular, I think, is a guy who can make some plays. But they're going to live with them making a play or two rather than letting Jarvis and Hunt eat.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to do. And the one thing that the Chiefs have to do is, I know that they're going to run the football. They're going to do that well. But they have to be able to get home against Baker Mayfield. He's against the blitz this year. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's been one of the best QBRs. But when you hit him, when you start to get there and you actually get free pressure outside of the running backs who are very good at pass protection as well, that's where he makes some issues. That's where he has issues. His QBR drops, his passer rating drops, everything drops because that's not his thing. When you can force him to throw off their timing, get through different reads, that's also something they're going to have to do. And on the outside, if you can force both Donovan Peoples-Jones and Higgins off their timing routes, get in their face and get some physical play, that will set everything up because he's going to have to go through different reads, and that's when you're going to be able to find some success and get guys home in the pass rush department. So I'm hoping Spags lets them play a little bit more physically, especially in the postseason where we know that holds and pass interference plays typically get dialed down a little bit. So maybe we see a little bit more physical press man, and that should allow them to really throw off some of the timing of the passing offense.
Yeah, and I'm more comfortable that the corners are more comfortable playing physical, all three of them. Fenton didn't practice early in the week. Looks like he's back out there now. He might be like the guy in there. I don't think that we see Keys very much. Gary, I know you made it late. Sammy's out. So is Willie Gay. At the end of the day, though, the key is, particularly for Ward, if he's allowed to play physical, he's got to hit his jams. Yeah. We've seen him miss a few times and get burnt, and then the receiver drops the ball. So I don't think you're going to see that in the playoff run here. The play action is going to be huge. So it's going to be about making that initial contact and carrying it through, to that 10 to 12 yard route range that I think Baker Mayfield's going to be looking for.
Yeah. The short passing game, when he's able to get the ball out quickly and accurately, that's when they're at their best. They're going to use lots of play action, lots of rollouts, boots to get him on the move because he's very accurate on the move and he's very good at doing that. So that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to limit the field and figure out how to make him go through multiple reads. That's when he's not, especially if he's moving out to his left. If you have to make him go to multiple different receivers, you cut the field in half that way too. So he doesn't ever go with the football. You get him to throw it away a few times here and there. You get some pressure. It's ideally what you want to do. It's not going to be easy, especially off of play action if they're running the ball well. That's where you're going to have your linebackers come in. If you can get Wilson and Hitchens to fill properly, yes, they're going to hit some big run plays. I don't see them shutting them down. This is not Derrick Henry where you just have to get to him. This is an entire offensive line that's exceptional, and Kevin Stefanski has really reshaped the entire complexity of the run game. He's added gap concepts to their zone. So the way that you have to be able to do this is with everyone filling properly. That's the only way they can do it.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I left James's comment up here. It's similar, James, in that they have to focus on it, but they can't attack it the same way. Everybody has to be gap disciplined no matter what. And in the past game, I think exactly like Dan said, there's a difference between blitzing and actually producing pressure. When he's under pressure is the key. So I think you're going to see them send some blitzes from that side so that they're moving him left. And that comes down to Tyron, to Snead, possibly to Ward as well. We've seen all three of them blitz pretty well. And if Fenton gets in there, turn him loose as far as I'm concerned.
I would love to see that. They got some corners that can really blitz. Even Ward is a pretty good blitzer too. He's got some speed off the edge. So I'll just send everybody, man. I'll tell you what, from different areas, get everyone lined up and do just whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's see, just seeing if there's anything that stood out. You guys, I appreciate the comments and you guys getting in here early. We wanted to knock this out because the injury update was the big impetus. It does change everything. But at the end of the day, I think Kelsey's going to be nearly unstoppable. I'm a big fan of Phillips, their rookie linebacker from LSU, Clyde's teammate on the championship game. He's not ready to cover Travis Kelce. Taki is not ready to cover Travis Kelce. Ronnie Harrison is not ready to cover Travis Kelce. And at the end of the day, the thing that stood out to me in the last couple of days is the one comment that Eric Bieniemy made, that they're preparing. They've been preparing. They know this team. They know one guy in their secondary in particular, Terrence Mitchell. Watch out. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you.
If you guys remember, he was a Chief a while ago.
Right?
So I think that we have a good idea of what his strengths and weaknesses are.
And it was subtle. It was fast, but he put it in that presser, and I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. So, folks, keep an eye on 3-9. It might hurt, but it's going to be all right. Preacher, Aaron's not in. He's at work doing his job. Like I should be doing too, but we wanted to get this out for you. So thank you guys. I hope that you're pumped up. Danilo's coming up. I have something really special for you, a crossover with my buddy Quincy, who covers this team that we're playing this week in depth. So you're going to see that Sunday morning. Don't miss it. I'll put it up nice and early, so when you all get up, you can see that. Go back, watch the films. Let us know what you want to see. Next week, we'll do the breakdown post game like, we always do. And I'm looking forward to it. At the end of the day, I see the Chiefs winning this, but by less than a touchdown.
Interesting. I did something for the SB Nation, the Cleveland Browns SB Nation earlier today. My prediction was 35-28 Chiefs. That's what I'm going to stick with. I think that they win by a touchdown, something relative to that. I do believe it's a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be closer at the end than it is most of the game, because we've seen the Chiefs play multiple teams that run the ball well, and they've given up 150 plus yards on the ground 4 times this year, and they've won all of those games. So I feel comfortable enough that they're going to win. The Browns team is good. This is a very good Browns team with a very good future, and I'm very happy that they're where they are. I don't think they're ready for the stage yet, and I think Patrick Mahomes and everybody is ready for this stage. They have been all year, so that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Dale, just want to say thank you. Appreciate a positive comment from another team. It's always nice to see. Lordia, yes, that's exactly what we expect. Sneed will draw that assignment. Dustin, thanks for your super sticker.
You.
Didn't see that till the last second. Thank you very much. I'm going to stick with my prediction from Locked On Chiefs yesterday. And if you guys missed any of that, Chris and I did our thing, which is a very different perspective than what Dan and I do, because we happen to see the game very similarly. So check that out. But I do think it's 33-28. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
Just a little bit tighter is all I'm thinking. So let us know what you think. Hit your predictions down here in the comments. I want to know the score specifically and who you think is going to be the breakout player. We appreciate you being here. If you're not, hit that like and the sub and the bell notification. We'll be back with you post game. We have stuff tomorrow and the next day and Sunday morning, and all of it. Is tomorrow the next day? I don't even remember.
Tomorrow is the next day.
Yeah. I've been doing so much this week. It's crazy. So you all have a great weekend, a good Friday night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.